Hi guys, I'm back. Today I thought we'd do something a little bit different. We're going to do a really simple Mokume-Gane, just using some translucent clay and some foiling. So I've prepared myself. This is Cernit. Oh, doing that flickering thing again. I've got 1.5 blocks of Cernit conditioned and rolled out. I've got half a block of Opaline Cernit, so it's got a bit of mica in it. Half a block mixed with half a block translucent, so 50-50. You could just mix a bit of your mica powders in with some translucent, or use any of your white clays that have got some sheen in it. You don't have to. I just think it adds a bit of something to it. Some alcohol inks. I'm using Turquoise, Mermaid and Limeade. Some isopropyl alcohol to thin the inks out, because we want a really subtle colour, not harsh colours. I'm just going to use a tile to mix them on. So you'll need some sort of brush and some foil. I've got silver leaf here, and that's about it. So get your bits together and we'll get started. Right guys, what we're going to do is we're going to make a stack. So I'm just going to use my cookie cutter, because I don't want to make a massive stack, then there's not loads of waste. So I'm basically going to cut out probably, let's have a see how many I can get out of this. 2. Yeah, I'll probably get 3 for each colour. And then I'm going to put a couple of non-coloured pieces in as well. So I'd say cut out 3 squares or whatever shape you're using, and keep 3 plain, and then the rest of your pile, your clay can go back in your pack. So I've got 3 plain, and I'm not worried if they're a bit tatty, and 3 each for each of my alcohol inks. I'll just clean this mess up. Two, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I can count today. We'll not cut the, oh we will. And then I'm just going to cut 3 or 4 of the translucent or opal out, and we're just going to make a stack like you would. I'll just put these to this side, then I don't mix up which is which. Right, so I'm going to get my first 3. I'm going to do all my colouring first. So I'm just going to get my tile, and I'll do my mermaid first. So I'm just going to put a little spray of alcohol on, and 1 drop. I'm just going to wet my brush as well with alcohol, then it doesn't soak it all up. There we go. Let's give this a mix. So you just want a really pale, watered down look. And I'm just going to give the tops of my pieces of clay a little swipe too. And you can see I just really, really, really pale. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just a nice pale coat. And I'll pop them to one side to dry. I would advise against putting your clay, putting the ink directly on your clay, because it stains it and then you can't move it around. So if you mix it first or put it onto a surface first, then you have a better chance of it not staining and you're getting that faint look. Because say we just want this really, really pale. So again, a couple of sprays on my tile of alcohol, or a couple of drops, whatever it is you're doing. 1 drop of my colour. Where's my brush? Oh, there it is. Give that a mix. I'm going to put a little bit more on because this is a really, really strong colour. In fact, I'm going to put a tiny speck of green in that because I would like mine to be a bit more green. So I'm going to mix that turquoise with some green and get it bluey green instead. Again, the choice is yours. Just pastel-y, pale colours. I think that will be pale enough now. Spray my clay and just give it a little swipe of colour. And that'll do. You can see it's just like a hint of a tint. Now you could colour your translucent if you so wished with a grain of a colour. I just like doing it this way. It saves, for me, it saves any waste. Then I don't have a load of translucent with different colours mixed in. And the colour kind of soaks into the clay, so it's really good, that. And my last 3. Bit of alcohol. And again, I'm just going to put a teensy bit of green in just to lift that blue. That's better. That still might be a bit dark, but we'll see. Spray my clay again. Give it a swipe. There we go. Let's put a bit more on that one. And we have to leave them alone for a second just to make sure that they are absolutely bone dry. So I'll just clean up while we're waiting. Clean my tile off. I put feet on the bottom of my tile with a bit of clay, and then I can pick it up easy. Because I struggle sometimes picking things up. Right, let's make sure everything's nice and clean. And I'm going to take my 50-50 one, so the one that's opaline and translucent. I'm just going to pop the squares together. And I'm going to take my translucent as well. Just remember which is which. Translucent is on the right. And I'm going to take a piece of my foil, very carefully pick it up. And lay it on my clay, smooth it in, just get this excess off and put some on here. Make sure that's all nice and bonny. Doesn't have to be perfect, but as long as it's covered. And then I'll just bring my tissue in to put my scraps on. Waste not, want not. Just pick these up and pull these little bits off. Right. Just pop a little bit on there. Oh, well that was bright, wasn't it? Silly sausage. I'll just put some of these scraps on the bits that have come off. Again, it doesn't really have to be that perfect as long as you've got a decent covering. Right, that's that done. Let's get these bits out of the way. Oop. There we go. These should be getting there. Right, I'm going to start stacking. Doesn't matter which order you do it in. I'm just going to do, I'm just going to put a piece of my white 50/50 translucent, and then stack my colours, couple at a time. Maybe bob a translucent in between. Yeah, a translucent square in between. Put a green there. And then I'm going to put a translucent and a pearl together. Oh, not two the same. Put them two on. Put one of them on. I'm doing this really random, as you can see. And then I'm going to flip this one over, just so nothing's coming off on the top. And then we'll just give this a press. Oop, a bit stuck to the bottom. Just give it a little press to make sure that it's all squished together in a nice stack. What I'm hoping with this, because we've kept it so so compact, because we're going to roller it now, is we shouldn't get a load of waste, because, well, you've heard me, I don't like a lot of waste. So now I'm just going to roll this stack out a little bit. I'm going to turn it over as well so that it's spreading equally. And just get it to a manageable size. I don't want my layers to be too thin. That's why I've not put it through the machine like you normally would. You know, you take the thinness right down, don't you? I don't want to do that with this. Then I'm going to take my ball tool. Make sure there's no gunk on it. And we're not putting cuts in it. We're just going to use a ball tool and make circular impressions in it. So take your ball tool and give it a really good push down. Try and keep it reasonably random. Well, as random as you can, I suppose. And that's all we're going to do. That's it. And then we're just going to do the usual and bring our stack back together. Just going to get my roller and give it a roll. And then give it another squish. Turn it over and do the same. You want to keep, once you've done this, keep your square or rectangle or whatever shape you've decided to do it. If you keep in mind the size of a pendant you might want to use, or the size of a cutter you might want to use. For example, Sarah's going to use this on the piece. I know I only need to do one slice. We're not going to do lots of thin slices. We're going to take a decent slice through and make a pendant with some of it. So that'll be fine for me. I don't need to bring it in anymore. It's nice, and I can see a bubble. It's nice and back together. Just going to make sure there's nowhere trapped. Just give it a little press and a roll. And I think that will do. Right guys, I'm going to let that rest a little minute, just because it's quite squidgy with me playing with it. And then we'll get on with making the other part of our pendant. See you in a minute. Hi guys. Right, what I've done is I've got a piece of Premo black, thickest setting on my pasta machine, and I've cut myself a little template out of paper because I can be a bit rubbish at freeform cutting. So if I just cut myself a little template out to guide me, it kind of helps. So what we're going to do first is I've just got a little bit of sponge. You can use anything you want, your stencils, your texture plates, you know, whatever you want. I'm just going to use this sponge to give us a texture, and then what we're going to do is cut the shape out, transfer it onto a piece of paper or tile or whatever you normally bake on, and then we're going to cut a hole in the middle. The reason we're doing it on the surface we're baking on is I don't want you to deform the circle by picking it up. So yeah, once we've placed it on whatever surface we're going to be baking on, be it your tile or a piece of paper or whatever, then we'll cut the circle out, and we can, if there is any little rough bits, we can tidy that up when it's part baked. So I'm just going to do my texture. And again, like I've said before, you can do whatever texture suits you. Some people like using sandpaper, makes nice textures. I've seen one lady who puts salt on the surface and then brushes it off when it's baked. That looks pretty cool because you get some like really decent depth on it, don't you? But I'm just using my little sponge because I like that texture it gives. Just doing that because I can see a bit of pesky cat fluff. So I'm sorry if that's making the camera wobble. I think that will do. So I'll just put my little template over. And I'll just use my template as a guide to cut my pendant shape. Get off. Just get that little piece off. Now, normally, you know what I'm like, I want the surface to be perfect, but in this case I'm just going to have to be really careful, because I don't want to distort the shape. So I'm just going to very gently rub my finger over these edges, but I will take a file to them when it comes out the oven. I'll just pop that on this piece of paper because that's what I'm going to bake on. Tidy these edges up best I can. Just run my finger around. Make sure it's nice and smooth. I'm still not 100% sure about that shape, to be honest. Maybe I'd have liked it better that way. I don't know. I'm just going to take this curve off a bit more. Ah, yeah, I like that better. Make that a little bit more. Ooh. Yeah, that'll do. Now all I have to worry about is making sure that my circle cutter, I don't know, oh there it is. I don't know what size to use. What we're going to do is cut a hole out the middle. And we're going to use our Mokume-Gane to fill that. So I'm not sure. I think I will. I think I'll do this one. Make sure it's reasonably central. Maybe a little bit higher. Right. One circle, and I'm just gonna try and take that out without distorting it. I think I may have distorted it. So I'm just gonna pop it back in to make sure that I haven't disturbed the shape too much. I think that's okay. Brill. Just run my finger around that edge. Make sure it's all nice and bonny. And we'll just pop this to one side for now, while we get our other piece ready. Just clean up some of this mess. There we go. I'm sorry about the flickering. I don't know if it's just because of the way the sunlight's coming through. It's playing havoc with my camera. It just flickers every now and again. Right, we're going to take our Mokume block. And we're going to cut ourselves a reasonable slice off. You know, we want it to be about the same thickness as the thickest setting on the pasta machine. So I'm actually going to, you probably won't be able to see what I'm doing now, but I'm going to stand it up like so, and I'm going to just slice down with my blade. Just make sure it's nice and clean. So I'm just going to take a slither off first. Put that to one side. And then I'm just going to take a reasonable piece off, like so. So that's my piece. And I'm just going to pop this through the pasta machine on my thickest setting so that I know it's the same size as the black bit we've just done. And there we go. So now I'm going to take the same sized cutter, make sure I get the right one, make sure it's clean and not got any of that black on it. And then we're going to cut I'll just get a piece of paper ready, because again I don't want to be picking this up and distorting it, because then it won't fit in my hole. And let's just find a nice area. I think I'm just going to have to roll that a teensy bit. It's just not quite wide enough for my cutter. So I'll just give it a little roll. And I'm going to give it a little burnish as well, because I've just stuck my manky fingers on it. Make sure that surface is lovely. And then I'm just going to pop my cutter there. Cut myself a nice circle out. Take this off. And where I've got, you know, you get them funny knobbles, I'm just going to put the cutter back on. See if I can get that smoothed out a bit. I hate these knobbles on the cutters. Let's just give it a wiggle and give it a little press from the inside. Right, that should be fine. So there's our circle. I'll just give it another burnish because I stuck my finger on it. Give it a run around the edge. So I'm going to pop these two into the oven now, 15 minutes on the recommended temperature, and I'll see you in a more. Hi guys, right, I'm back. So these have been in the oven for 10 minutes, well, maybe 15, because I did nip inside and get myself a drink. So what I'm just going to do before we do anything else is just get my little nail file, and I'm just going to go around these edges. That one's not going to be. I'll use this one. Just going to go around these edges and tidy them up, because there's just a few little bits that I couldn't quite get off because I didn't want to disturb the shape. And that's fine. It doesn't really matter about the inside of here because we won't see it, but I will just give it a little sand. And the same on my little piece. It isn't very translucent, it's still translucent, but because it isn't fully baked, it won't be fully translucent yet. Let's just get rid of that dust. Make sure I've no dust on anything. There we go. Right, so I've got another piece of conditioned clay. I've done this on number 2 because again I don't want my pendant too thick, and I've popped it on here again because I just don't want to disturb it. This will go straight in the oven. So what we're going to do is going to get a bit of our bakeable medium just to be on the safe side. I'm sure this will stick fine, but better to be safe than sorry. So I'm just going to spread a little bit of this around just to make sure, especially on the edge, that it doesn't delaminate or anything. I'm going to pop this that way's better. Make sure I haven't got sticky fingers, and just give that a nice press to make sure it's adhered properly and there's no air trapped. And I'll not use my black on the back of this because it might show through, so I'll use my translucent. I'm just going to pop a teensy bit on the back and rub it in again, just to be on the safe side, and pop that in like, make sure there's no bubbles, there's no stuff oozing out. And then I'll just get my flexi blade again and trim these edges nice and neat. Oh, as neat as I can get them. Let's have a look. Just this bit here. I need to turn it around. There we go. Nice and bonny. I'm just going to gently peel it up and just run my finger down there, because I can see a little bit that's sticking out. And the same on this edge again. Just run my finger down. Make sure there's no bits that need an extra trim. Like there. There we go. One pendant. There's a little bit there. Off you pop. There we go. Nice and bonny. Just make sure I've got no bits anywhere. Right, this is going to go back in now for half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, because I just want to make sure that I don't burn my translucent clay. I will tent it, and we'll be back shortly, and we'll put a bail on and the other stuff. See you no more. Hi guys, I'm back. It's all nice and baked. The translucency is lovely. You can see it looks quite deep. It's really cool looking. I don't know what to do about a bail though now. I don't know whether to put one on the back, because I'm thinking it would be better with a hidden bail and string coming out. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually just going to make a small bail and pop it on the back and pop it back in the oven to bake a little bit longer. So we might as well do that together, seeing as I'm the one that changed my mind. Let's find a bit of black clay. I'll just roll this through my pasta machine. There we go. I'll just give it a smooth to make sure there's nothing untoward going on it. And I've got my little cutter ready. Cut that daft bit off the end. Bit of smooth. Slice that little bit off just to take some of the bulk out. Get my little stick, mould it round nicely, sure it's straight and smooth. These edges over. Oh, get rid of that cutter. And I'll just put a little bit of liquid clay on to be on the safe side. as close to the top as I can without you seeing it. And I will take my little ball tool if I can find it. I have little baskets off to the side with all my things in, and sometimes I don't put them back in the right one. I'll just put some little dots on to firm it down, as I always do. Right, I'm just going to pop that back in the oven. Again, with it having the translucent clay on, I want to be really careful. So I'll just do it for 20 minutes and just keep checking it every 10 minutes after that. But yeah, once my bale's sorted, I'll pop back and we'll finish it off. Hi guys, all baked, nice and bonny. It's still a bit wet because I always dunk things in cold water to cool them down quick. So there's our lovely pendant. I've just got one of these again, the string and ribbon. I'll just pop that through just so you can see it strung. And there's our lovely pendant. Quite a chunky one, this one, isn't it? Big, I should say, not chunky. But I think it looks effective. You could even put some resin on the centre. I might actually do that later. Just make sure it's settled. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it. Hope you enjoyed it. Tune in for my next video because we're going to be making some stuff with our leftovers of this Mokume-Gane. A nice springtime pendant with some matching earrings. So I'll see you then. Bye guys, thank you.